Hey, what's up? This is Jim from Jägermeister. We're here at Damnation 2013. I'm here with Robin from The Ocean. How's it going, sir?
Pretty good. A bit sleep deprived, but generally feeling all right, yeah.
Because you pretty much just come from London last night, right?
Yes, we came in from London, and we're actually on a sleeper bus, so I shouldn't be sleep deprived, but you know what happens when you're traveling with 28 people. Well, we're 16 on our bus, and then, 12 on the other bus, but still.
16 on a bus. How do you all fit in there?
Oh, 16 is actually, that's a single-decker bus. We have two single-deckers. Like, you can fit up to 22 people on one bus, actually. Well, it's kind of claustrophobic,
I can imagine.
It's bunk after bunk, like on top of one another, and yeah, it's tight, but it's definitely better than touring in a van and then sleeping in a hotel for 4 hours and then leaving at 6 in the morning to drive to the next town. So I'm not complaining. This is really touring at a very comfortable level right now.
You're not looking back at those days like with rose-tinted spectacles, like I miss those days.
Well, it's not that they're entirely gone. We just got back from a 3 months tour of like Russia and China and the US, and in the US we tour in a van, and in Russia we tour with trains basically, and like sometimes taking planes, but mainly with trains, because distances are too large to drive, so you can't really do it as you would do it in Europe. So in those places we do take hotels and we do sleep 4 hours and do get up at 6 in the morning to catch the next train to the next city. So it's not that those days are in the past, really.
And how was touring China? I've never been, and it always looks like a pretty crazy place to go to.
Yeah, it is. It's very exciting, and very different from the notion I had of this country in the first place. We've toured there twice now, and I always thought it's this kind of like authoritarian state where you can't really say what you want to say, and you have to watch out with police and stuff, and it was not like that at all. Like, it's very organized, and I'm not saying it's a free country, but we never ran into any situations where we felt oppressed by authorities, and I was surprised. I mean, try entering the US, you're going to spend 5 hours in immigration answering retarded questions. In China, 5 minutes, bam, you got the stamp in your passport, you're through. Everything was super easy. The shows were pretty crazy, most of them. Chinese audiences are weird. Like, they have these ritualized dance motions that we don't have in Europe. You will have like 10, 15 males, like kind of like line up next to one another and like, embracing each other like that, and then they bang their heads like that. And it's just really fucking funny. And then when the show is over, they clap for like 10 seconds, and then that's it. Complete silence, but they won't leave the room either. So like, we played one show in Chongqing where we left the stage and we were like, all right, I guess they think we sucked, because nobody was fucking clapping or anything. So we started drinking backstage, and then 15 minutes after the show, Loic went back on stage to get his microphone, our singer. And everyone was still there, like standing in the room. We had no idea. And then people were like, woo, like when he was getting back on stage. So we played an encore 15 minutes after the regular set was done. Because people were still there. They just didn't open their mouths to say anything. They were just like waiting, like silently. The scene there, like the metal and hardcore scene, is where the European hardcore scene or metal scene was like in the early 80s. So for us, it really feels like we're pioneers, like going to places, sometimes playing in cities. Like the first time we played in Shenzhen, that's a city with 14 million inhabitants. They have 2 venues.
2?
Yeah, 2.
Wow.
Berlin has 3.5 million inhabitants, and we have like 320 venues.
Yeah.
It's like the infrastructure is just like not really there yet. So we played in a coffee house, and I think most of the people who were there had never been to a metal show before and just didn't really know how to behave, but still got really excited, and it's just really cool because it feels like touring places that are not so spoiled like most of the bigger Western European cities, where a lot of times people are just like watching the show, but they're really there to hang out with their friends and show their cool buttons and t-shirts, and not really because they care about the music.
Look at everything else apart from the actual band that's playing.
Exactly, yeah. And in China and Russia, people are fucking hungry. They're like, like...
How does it vary, though? Like, obviously, you're playing here at Damnation today. In terms of... I can't imagine you guys being like let's go out and play the hits on stage. Like, how do you tailor a festival set compared to one of your own shows?
It's difficult because this is part of a tour, and on this whole tour, it's 33 shows in 33 days, and we're only like day 4 into the tour now. On this whole tour, we're playing the new album in its entirety. It's a concept album that is basically a journey from the surface to the bottom of the sea. So it makes sense to play it like that, because the music has been written as one kind of like, consecutive piece of music,
like
one
in
chord.
movements and
Exactly,
sort of
exactly. Yeah, the track marks are randomly set, and there's like a progression going from the beginning to the end. So it makes sense to play those songs in that order live, and that's what we're doing on this whole tour. Now it turns out this album is 55 minutes, and today we only have a 45-minute set, so we can't really do that. So we're gonna cut out like 2 songs in the middle and play the beginning and the end of the set, which still kind of manages to get this progression feel kind of like across. But we're not playing any older tracks. We're playing only stuff from the new album tonight.
And how's that going to work in the future as well? Like in terms of if a work is created as a whole, to then go back to it and cut it into pieces.
Well, it works to take out isolated tracks and play them in a different context. What doesn't really work is like to play songs from that album and put them in a different order, or like to play like 2 or 3 songs, then play something else, then continue with that. So like this tour is the album tour. That's where we're playing the album in its entirety. Also for the next US headlining tour we're doing in March, we're going to do the same thing because we haven't headlined over there yet. Then once this album cycle is coming to an end, we're probably going to continue playing certain Pelagial songs, but we're not going to play the album in its entirety again, I think. So yeah, then we'll have to see how it goes. It's already getting difficult now to find like representative set lists because we have 7 albums released, and yesterday in London we played the album entirely and then played 3 songs, 1 each of our previous 3 albums, but then there's 3 more albums before that, so if we want to play 1 song of each album we'd already have to play for 2 hours kind of. So it's, our songs are long too. It's like most of them are like 8 to 10 minutes for your album, so it's kind of difficult, but it always works.
I'm looking forward to today, man, so thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Cheers, Lee.
Cheers.